Guys sitting on the tarmac in Fort Lauderdale. We're about to go to LA. We're gonna have an awesome freaking week. Speaking at City Summit, rocking about 15 vlogs. We have from Tony Horton to my buddy Mr. Jones to, just some amazing people that I've gotten to know over the last 10, 15 years in entertainment. And we're gonna have some fun this week. Also, Jake's first time going out to LA, so I'm super stoked that he gets to go with me. Welcome to Miami. Whatever comes to my mind at that moment. You guys, we just got to LA, at LAX right now. Gonna get a quick coffee on the road. Gonna go meet up with my second dad. He's one of my mentors in LA after this, so gonna have some fun.
What's
you know what's something?
What's happening in the world today?
What's crazy? So I work with a lot of law enforcement with our nonprofit,
right?
And a lot of these kids are being bullied. The cops are mentoring them now,
right?
And
yeah, you were
mentoring
telling
the
me
bullies,
about that.
right? And so one of the big things that was happening this last month was the refugees coming over or people coming over our border, and they were saying kids were in cages, right? And so it's interesting because I called my cops on the border and I go, "Is this true?" And they go, "We haven't seen any of this."
Okay.
And then I said, well, why are the kids being split from the parents? And they go, it's the same thing as like what we do with a foster care challenge. We go into a house and we assess, and if there's child endangerment, then we pull the kids away from the parents to protect them. These kids have gone hundreds to thousands of miles to be able to get here through dangerous situations. So it's very interesting for me working with a lot of youth and protecting youth and making sure we create systems to make sure our youth have great futures, also to make sure they have great parents. Rodeo, what's up, Jake? It's Rodeo. What are you doing in LA, bro?
Filming,
Lambo, look at the Lambo. Daniel. You're passing the Lambo. What else?
Just hanging out with Daniel and working, man. Having fun. That's beautiful.
Cool. What's up, guys? This guy right here, this young buck right here, is hold on a second. Is like my second dad. He adopted me. Did you adopt me? Somewhat, unofficially, officially?
You told me I did, so I did. Who was going to argue with you?
I don't know. We met like, what, about 10 years ago now? No, about 12 years ago? Maybe?
Yeah, when you were 11.
And you were 103?
102.
And then I walked into a party and he goes, hey, here's my number. I used to, walk over guys bigger than you to the fight. And I was like, okay, talking smack. I don't think you talked smack on the first day.
No, I
think you had to get to know me after that a little bit.
Yeah.
And,
I wanted to stay alive, yes.
And then I've gone to, Seder's at your house now. I wore the hat thing. Christmases, Thanksgivings, food, dinners.
Yeah, you ate everything, so I had to order out afterwards.
Give him one piece of advice. Like I love like the wisdom that you've had. And Harlan owns dealerships, got Toyota, Ryan Seacrest, Manny Pacquiao sponsors their nonprofits and supports. And What kind of advice after all the business stuff, that you've done?
The best advice I can give anybody is to tell you that character matters.
That's a mic drop right there.
It does. I mean, if I hadn't had character, because life's up and down, and everybody needs. It's nice to have a good support group. Huge. And anyways,
I think a big thing is, where'd you see me like 12 years ago, and where do you see me like today? Like a huge difference, right?
Yeah, I just thought, the guy who was maybe thinking, maybe I had enough of this fighting stuff. I'm undefeated, and I'm doing. Why don't I do something else with my life?
Yeah.
And I said, well, the best thing to do is take the experience that you've got now, and then mold that into something that'd be more to what you really want to do, which is help people. And
We've
make
done
your
it.
life mean.
Our first nonprofit, they came out, supported with Michael King and Richie and Ron Tudor and Peter Rooney and so many different people in Beverly Hills and Bel Air and LA. And so it's awesome to be able to, when I was growing up, my parents took me to like Sizzler, right? Like all you can eat, like on a Sunday morning after church. And when I moved to LA, it was a different thing. I wasn't around, I didn't network. I didn't understand how to build my team, build my relationships. And team is one of the 5 things I really push and that I'm talking about at City Summit coming up. But it's, I think, building your team. He introduced me to the world, from guys that started Oprah with King World to Jeff Palmer that owns, 10,000 apartments, right, in LA.
But the thing is, if you hadn't developed the idea of having a good character, none of those people would have talked to you no matter what I said.
Yeah, I just called Richie before he came here, and he's like, yeah, let's get together. So it's interesting on how one person can add so much value. Like Frank Shamrock, I think, was my first real mentor besides my father. And then it was Harlan, at 26 years old or so, 25, something like that. Changed my world on how I perceive life. Frank and Javier taught me how to fight and how to be tough, how to get through pain. But
You mean Frank Shamrock was a better fighter than me?
it's debatable. It's debatable.
Yeah.
Do you want me to text him and ask him right now?
I would think you ought to delete this part.
Delete this one. But I think that was a huge thing. Is number one thing that I've gotten out of like the character thing. I think is a huge thing with you. Second thing is like the people you surround yourself with are priceless. They're there for you. They supported you. You can build companies with them, partnerships with them, and do fun projects, right?
But if they don't think you have good character, they're not going to bother with you.
Yeah. So think about that, guys. Good character. Thanks, Harlan. Thanks for lunch. Thanks for the scraps.
And the moral is, don't go picking on MMA fighters.
My size or just your size?
Any size.
Which one?